Hello Malty mash tun monitors, and thank you to Donner Pass Whisky for that malt mention. I'm Ralphie, this is the Bothy. You are witnessing, Ralphie Review 892 extras. Look at that X for extras. This is where, having just reviewed, see, I'll put my camera out, my mobile device out the way so as it doesn't fall out of my pocket. This is where, I'll come to this shortly, I talk about other things relating to whisky which are not a specific whisky or quality spirits review. And for this particular episode, I am formally introducing the online Scotch Whisky Awards, which were launched on August the 26th, 2021 at Aquavit's channel, linked below, on the VPub. And if you go there, you can catch up on the full extensive, what must have been over 2.5 hours we're chatting away, live stream in which we discussed regional whiskies, revealing some of our recommendations, some obvious and some less obvious, and introducing the online Scotch Whisky Award scheme. I'd now like to take this opportunity to give you more information about it, to give you a little bit of the backstory so that you can see where the concept has come from and what we're looking to achieve. So I now have my OSWA folder, that's the abbreviation of Online Scotch Whisky Awards. And I had a bit of a Zoom, in fact an extensive Zoom conversation, video conversation with Roy Duff at Aquavit, who is steadily building a reputable and very engaging communicative channel on YouTube in the video format, talking about whisky, primarily, like myself, Scotch whisky, but also mentioning other whiskies and other spirits from time to time. But really we're focusing on what we know most about, which is Scotch whisky. And I put an idea to him, a basic idea, and we discussed it, and we just kind of reshaped it slightly to be practical. And we discussed the reason for it. And the reason's simple, that the internet is now growing up. And there are more and more conscientious, informative, intelligently delivering communicators on the video platform, primarily in YouTube, who are entertaining, engaging, and giving specific singular opinions about different whiskies. And everybody's growing an audience. Now, I've been doing it for quite a long time, and other folk maybe a bit less time, but we're all in this together, and importantly, people are doing their own thing, in their own comfort zone and own space, and that's the way to do it. With some presentations, it's very simple. It's press the on switch and record everything, and then press the off switch, and that's where you have it. That's my style, my Ralphie style. And I really haven't changed it and see no reason to change it. But there's other channels, there's a lot of lighting and editing and pre-scripting and rehearsals and all the rest of it. There's a lot of work goes into that. A lot of money goes into buying the equipment, setting up the studio, getting the ambience right, the lighting right, the backdrop right, and then there's the rehearsals and recording the videos, and very few reviewers put the first video out because it's never good enough, and it could be the second take, the third take, and you really have to find your rhythm after a while. So there's a lot of effort goes into this all round, and it's something that the Scotch whisky industry in particular seem to tolerate as part of the new landscape, but they don't really understand it. But they're certainly noticing that they're getting a lot of sales out of it. A lot of sales. But we're not marketing, you see, and there are decision makers in the industry that like to put a barrier between those who produce whisky and those who commentate about whisky. So commentators can be invited to events, can be offered samples, bottlings, and if anybody accepts that, absolutely fine. So long as it's, it's transparent about it, it's no worries, no problem. In fact, as I've said recently in communication, it's really time for the value of the marketing that online commentators are providing is to actually send a bill to the marketing departments and charge them for being marketing, because particularly during pandemic lockdown, a lot of people were spending a lot more time online learning about whisky than they were reading magazines, reading books, and going to the traditional sources. And goodness knows you won't learn much at a newspaper. You know that. That's why you come here. So we needed a simple platform to connect more effectively and directly to those distilleries that are producing good whisky and putting it out there at an accessible price and keeping it positive, commend them and endorse them for providing the whisky that the commentators want to buy and that our audience want to buy. Because the thing about the comment section under the video is that you get loads of instant feedback. It's the dynamism of the video platform. It's very exciting. There are other platforms, there's plenty of groups on Reddit, there's people using WordPress for individual blog sites, and they generally do a pretty fantastic job. And I would say that the whisky industry is actually very lucky with the collective calibre of activity online compared to some other industries where things are a lot more rocky and a lot more controversial. But anyway, to cut to the quick, we discussed an awards scheme because there are many award schemes out there. The International Wine Spirit Awards, Malt Maniacs Awards, Scottish Field Awards. There's plenty of formats out there that provide acknowledgement and prizes and endorsement for the best tasting products. And the industry really values that style of connection. Otherwise they wouldn't support it, because they know it works, really works. But we're doing it a little bit differently. So we created a manifesto. Well, Roy created the manifesto. I checked it over. I saw that it was basically absolutely fine to go on. And we have taken it from there. We have contacted over 20 other online whisky reviewing video sites, and everybody's come on board because they think it's a great idea. So what's happening is very shortly individual channels will be reaching out in the form of a video presentation, in the form of approaching Patreon supporters and having polls and looking for feedback for different categories of awards. We've got 8 this year. We're keeping it simple and practical. And we'll have the best single malt, of course, the best grain whisky, the best world whisky, best independent bottler, and best Scotch distiller. So we're not making it ambiguous in any way, the best sherried this or the best peated that. We're keeping it fairly concise. And what we're awarding, to keep the costs down, because we're not being sponsored, we do not invite any industry sponsorship whatsoever. Furthermore, importantly, we do not want any samples or any whiskies submitted for assessment for this award, because the only whiskies that are being assessed is what you buy in bottles off of shelves from shops. And that means there's no opportunity for better calibre bottlings. what's assessed for the awards is what's actually bottled on shelves of shops. And it's a consensus. We gather the data, each individual website, sift it through, narrow it down, and pass it on to Roy and myself, who'll go through it again. Yes, by the way, we will check for any loaded anomalies, because it's happened in the past where distillery employees and friends have gone and voted for their own product under different email addresses and such like. Naughty, naughty. And it gets spotted. That's the thing about online. It's easy to spot these things when you've got complex algorithms doing the work in siphoning it all out and highlighting any little irregularities. We will be presenting the winners, and this is just a mock-up to Ugo Shugal Distillery. It's not open yet, but it probably will soon, for the winner of the best budget malt or budget whisky. We have a certificate we'll be sending. It'll be professionally printed. We'll have a nice embossed gold stamp at the bottom. It's like you get in lawyers' letters, lawyers' documents. We'll put it into an A4 frame, and we will post these at our own expense. This is why we're keeping the costs down of this. Keep it as light on its feet as possible. We will post these to the winning distilleries and bottlers. They can hang it anywhere they want. Could hang it in the bathroom if they want to, or perhaps in the shop at the distillery, or in the still room. This hasn't been done before in this way. I think it's quite exciting. This is the first time we're doing it. Let's see how it goes. If you want to know more, I recommend that you visit the online Scotch Whisky Awards official website called oswa.co.uk. You will find a link, Maltmates, down below. Yes, you will. You can go and see for yourself. Very professionally done. And yes, you'll have to verify your age before you can enter it. You know, we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's in this. And I'd just like to conclude by saying that Roy and I are quite different people, but that really works in our favour, because we'll be able to reach a consensus relatively easy. We've found we can do this in the past. Each of us kind of gives a little bit. We sort of compromise without giving too much ground, because, to be honest, we've got an awful lot of perceptions that are in common. So I'm delighted to have Roy on board. I think it's fantastic. I do recommend you go and subscribe to his channel. And I do recommend also, Maltmates, that you have a look at our fellow contributors on the oswa.co.uk website. Look at them and subscribe to their channels as well. There's over 20 of them. And they will provide you, amongst all of us, we will provide you all the whisky information that you could possibly need. I'm Ralphie. Do you know what? I commend this message. Bye-bye.